Knew there was something I was missing.
Recording in progress.
So we've done our walking around warm up. We've done our a few deep breaths, our neck, our shoulders, and now we're at our spine. Just to review for anybody that has to watch the recording and is confused while they came in like this. I just love how quiet I can be. Back to our ball, and let's take that ball for a ride side to side, stopping just above that knee, staying within our frame, going in the direction of the hand that's on top. Now for our hips, and this is where we get to our lower body, and it gets a little more complicated if we have problems with balance, because we'll shift the weight to one leg, placing one heel forward and our hands back. Pause and toe back, hands forward. Continue to breathe. Just check in with your posture. Make sure you're not leaning with the weight shifts. Shift our weight side to side. Hands going in the direction of the weight shift, stopping at our frame. For our knees, nice loose fist, shift, lift, tap, and punch. Let's step forward. I'm gonna step back just a little bit so my feet will stay on screen. Shift, small step, shift and punch. Bring it back. Keeping both feet flat on the floor. our ankles. Shift weight and then heel toe. We're rocking that foot. Bring it back. Shift the weight. Heel toe. Heel toe. Bring it back. Shift weight and little toe, big toe, or big toe, little toe, whichever way you like to go first. Shift weight, little toe, big toe. All right, give yourself a nice shake. Those are our warm-ups. Now, how difficult was that to be quiet? That was hard for me. That was a big challenge. Put my hair up. I'm not lying to y'all when I tell y'all I'm sweating. All right. So, going back through those movements, what are some of the things that we think about as those movements are happening? Because we're in this class, and so by the time we get to this class, we know the movements. We know the basics of the movements. We're not learning this for the first time. So there's dialogue that goes through your head reminding you about, body structure, the way that you're moving, and, maybe the internal part or the way that it all goes back to body structure, in that when you keep your soft bend in your joints and you allow those joints to be open, that creates a song joint and for the energy to flow for a better experience with the Tai Chi. But before we get started, I'm always thinking my posture. Throughout the movements, especially as I weight shift, I'm just checking in with my posture to make sure I haven't leaned a little bit, especially when I go to shift weight to one leg, the leg swings. I'm making sure that I'm not having any tension in my shoulders. It'll come up sometimes when I start moving my hands. It'll sneak in there. So the only way to get it fixed is to acknowledge it. And that's one of the gifts of Tai Chi is body awareness. Now, I jokingly say I live on your shoulder, and I'm always reminding you, hey, slow down. Hey, where's your posture? Are you breathing? The things that I'm constantly remind you. But that's just body awareness, to know how you are holding your body. And when you learn that in Tai Chi class, to widen up your stance a little bit, to hold your body in an upright way, if you do that when you're out in the world, then you're setting yourself up for less falls. So you're holding your body in a better way. Also, by not having tension, by catching tension that you hold in your shoulders or tension that you hold in your jaw, maybe you clench your teeth, recognizing that and letting it go can save you some pain, because tension can lead to pain. And so if we can recognize tension, get rid of it, then maybe we don't get a headache or a neck ache. So, and that can help us sleep better if we're without pain. So it's just like a cycle where we just recognize things, fix it, and then it helps ourselves. So if we're coming from the outside world where we're crazy busy and we have thousands of things on our to-do list, then it's probably hard for us to come in and just immediately transfer to that slow, smooth, and continuous. So sometimes just saying those words as you move, slow, smooth, continuous, just saying the words help you move in that manner. So if you are struggling to slow down, then say what you're wanting to actually do. Slow, slow, like just repeat slow, like slow down. Or I know before I have pretended that I was in one of those like slow motion movies. I pretended that just to make myself slow down. And so that's just the neck, first neck movement, and talking about slow. But you could do it anytime, but since that's our first movement, if it sets the tone that it's time to slow down, if you repeat that word through that first movement, then that can help you move forward and stay slow. Or else you may be fighting it the rest of the time. Maybe you're not having a hard time slowing down. Well, good for you. I'm just kidding. But you can take that movement and think about the gentle resistance. And as you move, it's as if you're moving through heavy air or water. So whenever you come up, you use those muscles like you're pushing up. And when you come towards, you're pulling. And when you turn, you're pushing. So you can really take that movement and focus on gentle resistance. So yes, it's a neck movement. And this hand part, that's not your neck, right? This hand part is the Tai Chi part. It's when we take our chin towards our chest that we get a neck stretch. So with other exercise programs, they'll tell you chin to chest. And you'll stretch your neck and come up and chin to chest. And that's to warm up those neck muscles, to work on the mobility and flexibility of your neck. So that exists other places, but adding the hand movement makes it Tai Chi. And this is a little complicated for some people, and I say some people, me. I don't know why it's so complicated for me, but when I bring my hands in and we're told to tuck that chin in, y'all know what I'm talking about? Do y'all do that where you bring your hands in and you kind of pull that chin in with it and then release it as you push out? I struggle with that movement. That doesn't feel good on my neck, so I don't typically do it. But that is another possibility of engaging your neck and your hands together, is connecting the hand movement with the neck, releasing and pushing, and then following those hands down. So it may be something you do, it may be something you skip. And that's the beauty of Tai Chi, is we listen to our bodies and then we make decisions on how we do those movements. So that's incorporating gentle resistance into that movement. This must be Kim. All right. So incorporating principle into our warm-up movements. How can we make that second neck movement more? So the basis of the movement, the exercise that we see in other classes, is we're looking towards that shoulder. So our chin is going towards that shoulder. So you'll see that in other exercises where you look to the side, to the front, and look to the other side. If y'all have ever done bingo size, that's one of the exercises in bingo size, is looking left to right. So that is for our neck, again, for the flexibility and mobility of our neck, but then the hands make it Tai Chi. And remember, we don't have to go as far as we can go. Just go until you feel a slight stretch and come back to the front. It'll teach you that go about 75%. That has never made sense to me. I don't even know what that means. I don't know how to measure that. So I just go until I feel a slight stretch and come back to the front. And I know that the more I do that movement, the more flexible my neck will become. I'm waiting for the day that I can be Reagan from that Exorcist movie where my neck will go all the way around. But that hasn't happened yet. So every time I say more and more flexible, I'm like, that's not even true. It won't go all the way around. But so that goes to tell you we're all different. And so you may not be able to comfortably go that far in your movement. A way to make that movement more is, yes, you're turning your chin, turning your head towards that shoulder. We've already checked our posture. We've already checked to make sure we're not holding tension. But this shoulder, opposite of the direction you're looking, your hand's down here by your hip. If you'll pull that hand, that elbow, that shoulder back just a little bit as you're going to the side. So y'all experience that. Where here I'm just going to the side, following that hand. I feel the neck, the stretch in the back of my neck. And then I come back to front. Go ahead and switch my hands. All right. So this time I'm going to follow my hand. And then I'm going to pull this hand back just a little bit. You feel that nice stretch in your chest? So that's a way to make that neck stretch just a little bit more. Is it wrong to do it just stretching your neck, just going to the side? No, you don't have to pull that shoulder. It's kind of hard to see. I'm sorry with the light shirt and the light background, but let me see if I can get close. And you see that shoulder, that elbow kind of pulling back just a little here. And then it stretches that chest. I can feel muscles even in my back stretching. So that's a way to make that more. Moving to our shoulders. I mean, the rolling our shoulders, rolling back. I think the big thing I'm always thinking is don't leave tension there. Try to keep it small. This is just a warm-up. You know, because if you really did some big circles, you know, that's a different experience. That's engaging more of your back muscles in your upper or your shoulder blades. But we're just trying to warm up our that ball and socket joint here, the shoulders. So think the size of a quarter. Forward, but back can help reset your posture. So today I'm just trying to go through all of our warm-ups to remind you how to make them more. Sometimes we may rush through our warm-ups and we're trying to get to the good stuff, but the good stuff is in our warm-ups too if we just get the most out of them. I've had classes that have done warm-ups for 12 weeks, and if you stay in principle, then you can get the benefits from just doing warm-ups. It's good sometimes because you don't have to have that memory of what's next. You just go from head to toe. All right. The shoulder circle, I call it a shoulder circle, but I don't know anything better to call it. But when you come up, this is a great opportunity to practice breath and also gentle resistance. So when you come up, it's like you're pushing through heavy air, and you turn and you push down. Inhale as you come up and exhale as you push down. So you can just focus on breath and not worry about gentle resistance. If you focus on gentle resistance, you still have to breathe though. And I even practice a little bit of movement in my knees there, coming up a little bit with my hands, and as I push down, just sink into that movement. So there's a little bit more bend in my knee. And I'm not at a squat, I'm still at this high stance that our program, the Soon Style Tai Chi, asks of us, but I'm sinking into that movement. And so those are ways to make that movement more. Spine. So with our spine, we're holding our ball. Remember, it's important to not hold tension. So you may be comfortable holding your ball low. You may like your ball a little bit higher. Just make sure you're not holding that tension. And whenever you separate your hands, of course, the hand on top goes down and it pushes beside you, and there's a soft bend in your elbow. So don't straighten it out. I probably see that more than, even though I say it every time, I still see people lock their arms, locking them. But we want to do it in a soft, we're not stretching our arms, we're stretching our spine. And I think it takes some practice to really find your way with that stretch, where you do actually stretch your spine. Because it's an arm movement, you're focusing on your arms. And I think that's why people lock their joints so easily, or just so naturally. But remember to keep that soft bend and stretch your spine. So it's not for your arms. When I'm at my ball, that's when I like to inhale. Inhale here. And when my hand comes up, I think about it following my spine and then turning and pushing above my head. And you may have to find a different place. You may not be able to reach your hand here. You might not have that kind of flexibility. So find a place that's comfortable for you. So you may be over here a little bit if that is too much for you. So just find your best placement. But inhaling at my ball and exhaling as I separate, I feel like that gives me a better stretch. So practice that a few times. Inhale and exhale as you separate. Back to our ball for the side to side movement. Of course, we're going in the direction of the hand that's on top. Again, checking, make sure we're not holding any tension. So there's that torso movement, which is very similar to our waving hands and clouds movement. So with the turn of our bodies, I want you to try to engage the core muscles. So tightening the muscles that are in your stomach with the movement. And what I like to do is pretend there's a straw that's sticking out of my belly button. And it's sticking out, and it's, I'm taking that straw like it's a pole going side, and I'm just envisioning that pole, and I'm using my muscles to push that pole side to side. Without envisioning that straw, I don't feel like I get the most out of that movement. I think pretending that there's that visual side to side of the straw helps me really engage those muscles. Now, I'll talk more about Dantian. I don't have a real deep understanding of it. I know that it guides us. It's the center of our energy, and it's just real Tai Chi of us to say things like Dantian. But if we do the straw thing, we're doing the Dantian thing. Follow me for all the tips. But think about that as a different experience with that movement, because here, if we're going side to side with our ball, yes, we're warming up our spine. Important part of that movement is not going too far, because if we go so far, then we start twisting our spine. You also feel a little pull in your knee, and that may hurt. So try to stay above that knee. It's really within our frame. That's how we like to move in Tai Chi. It's as if we went to Michael's and ordered like the perfect frame for our body, and we stay in that frame. We don't want to go outside of it. So it's nice whenever I can see myself in a camera, because, or in a mirror. I highly encourage you, if you have a place where you can see yourself move, you may surprise yourself. Or have someone video you, or have someone take pictures of you. This has been years ago, but my mom came to my Tai Chi class, and she, of course, was so proud. And she took all these pictures of me doing Tai Chi and showed them to me. And I was a little bit appalled because, you know, we talk about keeping that foot flat on the floor with our, like our follow step, or when we're shifting weight forward in our punch or in our push, the tiger movement. You know, we keep that foot flat on the floor. My foot would just here. I would be step, shift, follow step, and my foot would be there. But in my brain, my foot would have that little piece of paper, only the piece of paper amount underneath of it. So sometimes our brain will lie to us. So it's good to see yourself in a mirror. It's good to see yourself on camera, whatever works for you. And then you can fix it. And so our goal is to get the most we can out of anything we do, but here we're doing Tai Chi, so we want to do it right. And so that's a way for you to see yourself and maybe something you're doing wrong. So stay in our frame. Straw. So moving side to side allows us to engage that muscle. So yes, we're warming up our spinal movement, but then engaging our dantian, engaging those core muscles, it helps get those core muscles stronger. If our core muscles, our stomach and our back muscles, when they're strong, then that supports our body being upright. And when our body is supported upright, then we're less likely to fall. So that's why we want to engage that core where we can in our movements. So let's skip forward to waving hands in clouds, because this is that same movement. So this is my poster that I'll always keep up forever. Step, switch, turn, shift. This is waving hands in clouds. When we step out, remember we're stepping out further than hip width. But it's this movement, that's what I'm talking about, where we turn. See, same thing as this. Turn, turn. So it's still that straw sticking out your belly button movement. Turn, turn. There's the step and the switch. Turn, shift. What works best for me is to turn and then shift my weight. As I was trying to engage my core, I had a hard time turning and shifting at the same time. So here I have brackets because our goal is slow, smooth, and continuous. And one way we do that is combining our movements. So instead of stepping, then fixing our hands and turn, shift, step, you know, when we learn, we're real choppy. So gradually we learn how to be slow, smooth, and continuous once we learn that movement and we know what's next. We don't have to think, step one, okay, step, okay, I did that. Now I'm looking at my poster, okay, switch, change up my hands, okay, turn, you know, I'm doing the movements, I'm just learning that. Once I get there, I can start working on the next. But what I found is, and you may experience it differently, and that's okay, but to engage my core, I can step and switch at the same time, but then to focus on that core, turn, and then switch, or shift, step and switch, turn, shift. So experience that movement as I let somebody in. 331 entered the waiting room. I think Kim is trying really hard to get in.
I was on it, and I'm trying to get on something I can see better. Okay.
Kim, if you want me to, I'll call you after class and we can see what's going on.
I think I've got it now. I've been on it. I wanted to start the class.
I can call you afterwards. I know when it comes to computers, they like to fight us. They like to make us feel like dummies. But we'll figure it out, and then something else will go wrong. That's just the nature of it. But we'll keep working together and make it right. So I want y'all to practice this waving hands in clouds with that same. You may have echo having two things on. All right. So okay. Single whip. So we're coming from here, going into waving hands in clouds. Step and switch. So don't worry about 3 or 6. Just experience the movement of engaging core as you turn. While you're engaging your core, notice, hey, I'm not breathing. So engage core and breathe. When you get to a wall or a table, open and close and go back the other way. So we're practicing engaging our core as we wave hands in clouds. We're doing all this mental dialogue with the movement, and we can only do mental dialogue with the movement once we know the movement. If we don't know the movement yet, then our mental dialogue is what is the movement, which is the step, switch, turn, shift, the specifics of the movement. Once we have the movement down, then we can start going through our principles of low, smooth, continuous. Checking our posture. Sorry, I have to go from single whip to wave hands in clouds. And I am waving hands in clouds just from side to side as I have that mental dialogue. Okay, how's my posture? Okay, am I holding tension in my shoulder? Okay, am I breathing? Okay, is my core muscles engaged? Okay, what about my knees? My knees do have that soft bend, right? I'm breathing. That's a lot, isn't it? But these are our principles. And so you may do that one movement and only think about one of them, not go through the big mental catalog. Although it's nice to have a catalog, it's written in front of you, all of your principles. That way, it's a visual reminder. Oh yeah, I forgot the open joint thing. But breathing while engaging your core, that's a challenge, isn't it? Because tightening those muscles kind of lend itself to holding your breath. So is this making sense to y'all?
Yes.
I feel like I've opened up my brain to y'all, and I've just completely trusted you with the stuff that goes through my head.
Yeah, I think normally I don't think about the weight transfer. And so adding that in is kind of like, I need to kind of get recoordinated.
Yeah. I mean, even if you forget the hand movement, if you want to think weight transfer, just walking to the side and thinking about the weight as sand that, you pour into one leg pouring the sand. And now you're pouring it back into the other leg as you move, thinking about the weight as sand. And I think that helps slow me down to think of it as sand because of that hourglass, how it takes time. I mean, you don't want to take an hour to transfer weight from one leg to the other. But you know what I mean? It's like it takes time to pour the sand. And that lends itself to slow, smooth, continuous. But then you're thinking about that weight transfer. You're not thinking about stepping to the side. So just stepping to the side is a whole different movement than slowing down. We're engaging our muscles differently. So our muscles become more like stabilizers. So we're shifting weight, thinking about that sand, shift here. So busting apart our movements to practice principles is a great thing. So we don't want to always be focused on, okay, do I know the movements? I want to learn the movements. Of course we do. Of course we want to look beautiful and graceful, and we want to do all the movements with muscle memory and not even have to think about what's next. I mean, that's fun to do. It's fun to watch. And, you know, we get there and then we kind of go back to the beginning and explore the movements and go, okay, now that I know them. And so let's do that now. Let's even know what time it is. My watch is stuck. 9:46. Okay. Gosh, time flies when you're having fun. So let's just go through our movements. And because that's what we like to do. We like to go through our movements, but keeping in mind all of our principles. Whatever one you want to focus on, just kind of be free with what you focus on. Let it bounce around. Let it change from movement to movement if you want it to. So we're going to go through our basic 6 first. Nice stable stance, no tension, good posture, we're breathing, we don't have tension in our jaw. Here we go, and commence. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Open, close. Single whip. And close it out. So maybe you experience that in a different way. I know especially with that waving hands in clouds, because I'd been doing it so many times, I think my muscles were engaged more than usual. I love to explore gentle resistance. And I think that's what started so much of this different thinking of Tai Chi is with that gentle resistance. But in the switch movement, okay, you're here cross body, I like to say like a sash, and then you turn, and then this hand comes down like you're patting a drum, and then this hand comes up. So, you know, that's that kind of the simple, almost sharp softness of the change of the movement. This hand comes down, this hand comes up. But if you think about gentle resistance in that switch, like that heavy air here, so you're bringing this hand up, this fighting the air, okay, up and down at the same time. So doesn't that look really like karate-like to go from here to, hold on, I'm not doing that right. I'm trying to look at myself in the camera and not do it here. So that movement where you push and pull, turn, engage in that core, push and pull. So when you switch, experience that gentle resistance. So now we've experienced waving hands in clouds, engaging our core. There's that straw. We're pushing that straw side to side. And now when we get to that side, we're kind of making a big deal out of the switch by pushing and pulling. Turn, push and pull. Push and pull. Push and pull. It's almost like the tension is here when you turn, and then the tension goes to your hands in the switch. Tension as in resistance, not bad tension. Resistance. I'll say that's it. The resistance here. So can you feel that as you make a big deal out of the switch, not just switching hands, turning, but to make a big deal out of it, adding gentle resistance, push down and pull up. I like the that feeling, the way it's going those different directions as I push and pull, turn, push and pull. And somehow there's still like a softness to the movement. And it's that slow, smooth, continuous nature of our movement, even though we're adding gentle resistance. It just Tai Chi, there's really that yin and yang in our movements, the hard and the soft at the same time. And I think that's just why I like it, is the black and the white of the movement. It's like both at the same time. That's really cool. And you stop and just take the time to experience it that way. Couple deep breaths. Let's do our basic 6 again, and then we'll go through our advanced, at least to have a little experience with it. All right, from the top. Commence. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Close. And close it out. So that time when I did it, I felt a little bit of tension in my shoulders. I think I was trying to do too much. I was trying to put too much push and pull into it to where I put tension in my shoulders. But that's it's not a bad thing to find tension in your shoulders, because what matters is that you found it. You had the body awareness to notice it so that it didn't become a problem, because that kind of stuff's going to happen. We're going to come across times when we have terrible posture. Okay, fix it. It's okay. We're going to get ourselves in those positions, but just fix it. All right. Any questions about any of that? And I know that y'all have things that y'all can add to this. I'm not the all-knowing everything, only what I say matters. You may have experiences that you want to share with the group, and I welcome that. So don't think that you can't participate or share what you think and what you experience. I want you to know that. We're making this class whatever we want it to be. We're just trying to make this journey with Tai Chi the best that it can be. Let's go through our advanced movements. So remember, we go to the left first, starting with brush knee. We're coming from open and close. Brush knee to the left. Play the loop. Parry punch. Block and close. Push the tiger. Open, close. Brush knee. Play the loop. Parry punch. Block and close. Push the tiger. The front. Open and close. So I know the next couple weeks, we will dive into these advanced movements the same way that we did with our warm-ups and basic 6 today. There's so much more we can talk about in our advanced movements. And so, especially with that gentle resistance, and there's so much weight transfer. And so I love to explore the movements in advanced with our principles. So we'll do that. Something came to mind as I was doing that, and going back to our warm-ups. This issue happened this past week. So we were doing the warm-up movement for our knees, where we take that small step forward and we shift the weight as we punch. And so we talk about keeping a soft bend in our knee. And when we step forward, both feet stay flat on the floor. And when we shift to the front foot, what happens to your back leg? It almost comes straight. It almost locks, doesn't it? So I never really thought about that. I was more focused on keeping my feet on the floor, not taking too big of a movement. As I shift weight, not my knee, not going further out than my toe, knowing that there will still be some weight on that back foot. I'm not 100% transferring. I'm thinking about my posture, because when I shift forward, the tendency is to want to lean forward. So those are the things that go through my head, is like, okay, feet flat on the floor as I shift weight, keep an upright posture. Don't shift too far, because I don't want my knee above my toe, or further than my toe. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. I never really stopped and thought about that back leg locking. But Tuesday, I had a lady say that her leg was locking. Like once she shifted the weight, she couldn't come back. Like her leg was locked. And so we explored that movement by stepping even closer. So when we say take a small step, that is a small step, but when I shifted weight, maybe my back leg was straight. But if I brought it in a little bit more, I'm still at a staggered stance. Shifting weight, I can still keep a soft bend in my back leg. So if it's an issue with your leg locking and you need to keep that soft bend, try that where your feet are a little closer together. So whenever my people tell me, hey, this isn't working for me, hey, I have a problem, then we try to explore that movement and find a way to work with them to what more works or what is more comfortable. And so I like when people tell me what's going on with them, because then I can explore the movement in a different way that maybe it wasn't bothering me. For instance, brush knee, we shift the weight, we turn that toe in. Not everybody can turn that toe in. Oh God, it's 10 o'clock. We'll talk about this next week. Instead of turning that toe in, we can step out, and then that doesn't feel so hard on our knee. So anything like that, we want to explore the problems people have, because our program is modifiable. But we don't know if we need to modify it unless someone tells us, hey, that's not working for me. So I'll share those types of things with you too, in case you experience it or somebody that you have class with does. All right, let's cool down. Let's give ourselves a nice fist massage. You're in control of how high you bring that knee. I say that, but usually my pants are in control of how high I bring that knee, depending on if my pants are tight or not. Can't lift that knee if my pants are too tight. But it's a nice little fist massage, telling our legs, thank you so much for working so hard. And then we remind ourselves about tension, we gather it, and then we let it go. We gather and release. Gather and release. Big shoulder circle. Inhale. Exhale. And to end class, we take our right fist. It's always a loose fist. That represents our strength. Our left fingers together represents our friendship. Our thumb in, our humility. So strength, friendship, and humility. And we put those together in mutual respect. We say namaste. Well, thank y'all for coming today.
Thank you.
I appreciate y'all. And we'll do it again next week.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure. Y'all let me know if you have any questions. I mean, you might not feel comfortable saying things on the camera. If you want to say something to me off camera, if you want to email me, call me. I mean, I'm open, y'all. So I'm willing to make this whatever y'all need. This is not about me. It's for y'all. Okay. I want y'all to really know that. So what y'all need, y'all just tell me. All right. Well, I love y'all. And I'll be calling you, Kim, if you can hear me, and we'll get it all straight. But I'll see you next week.
All right, next week. Bye, everyone.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
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 Bye.